I think the press room is all right. And McConaughey calls for responsible gun ownership. I don't think a lot of people would have a problem with responsible gun ownership. I don't think people would have a problem with that at all. And if you do, I don't know what to tell you. What are you supposed to have, irresponsible gun ownership? Is that what we're all supposed to do? Look, right now, there are a lot of things. Gun ownership should be a nonpartisan issue, as he argued that people in power have failed to act. Here's what I say about that. First off, I have no problem, whether it's Steve Kerr, whether it's Popovich, whether it's Matthew McConaughey, I got no problem with everybody, and I mean everybody, expressing an opinion. I don't. I think that's what America is about. I think that's what we should do. Look, I'm not the biggest fan of actors. I like actresses. I mean, what the hell? But actors, I'm not a big fan of. I'm not like I don't hold a lot of weight on people that pretend to be somebody else. I'm assuming brilliant people, caring people, just like most people are brilliant. Most people are caring. Most people think before they speak. One of the things that I do know in this world is this. The real world is different than anything we're seeing on television, anything we're seeing in press conferences, and anything that we are seeing across the country on Twitter. It just is. And the real world is a compassionate world. The real world is one of these, it's just totally different. And Matthew McConaughey says responsible gun owners are fed up with the Second Amendment being abused and hijacked for some deranged individuals. And he's probably right, particularly about the deranged individuals. Let's be honest. You know, I saw where one of our lawmakers said, well, this isn't a mental health issue. Well, let me ask you this simple question. Do you think somebody is all there, not deranged, it doesn't have mental health issues, if they are going to, at 18 years old, walk into a school and shoot up kids? Do you think that's just a normal deal? Of course that's not a normal deal. Of course that is a mental health issue. Way I have looked at this, or what I have been told by people that are actually in the legal business, that are a couple of former lawmakers, have told me, look, Dan, the bills need to be passed, but bills need to be passed to do specific things. Bills don't need to be passed as a harbinger for other things in the bill. If you want more gun control, or if you think background checks are going to be the thing that prevent or at least detour mass shootings to happen, then guess what? Pass the bill that is specific to those things. Don't throw in a bunch of pork. Don't throw in a bunch of nonsense. Don't throw in a bunch of partisan stuff, because you are tugging at the emotional purse strings and you are trying to get something passed. It's that simple. That's the most frustrating thing for lawmakers, I've been told, is look, we want to pass reasonable legislation, and it's not just gun legislation, it's whatever. But the people that put these bills in, particularly on emotional issues, add so much nonsense to the bill that if you actually read the bill, you can't pass it. Reasonable people can't pass it. Now, people with agendas that want certain things that are not the headline of the bill, those people want those bills passed, because not only do they get the headline, hey, we passed gun control, hey, we're protecting our kids, but they get all this crap that actually in some cases goes against that. We cannot be leaders if we're only living for election. Now, it is interesting that he is up there saying this from a White House that has a guy in office that has been there for 50-some years, whose other leader, a lady who has been there for 50-some years. I mean, I listen to that and I say, we cannot be leaders if we're only looking and living for re-election. I totally agree with that. That's why, as I never cared about this before in my life, that's why I'm like, why don't we have term limits? Why Why are we allowing these powerful yet dysfunctional families, whether it's the Trumps or the Bidens or the Bushes or whoever, the Clintons, why are we allowing these folks to maintain power? You're going to see this soon. You're going to see Chelsea Clinton run for some type of office. You think they're done, the Clintons? Are you crazy? When people get power, what do you think they want? More power. I mean, let's be honest here. Let's be real here. The idea that somebody from that particular podium would talk about we cannot be leaders if we're only living for re-election is irony at best, ignorance at worst. That podium with that guy, not McConaughey, Biden, who's been in office for what? 50 freaking years, who has vacillated so much from being among the most racist talking senators to now the guy who supposedly puts his arm around the African American community and wants to protect them in quotes. Look, I don't know the answer. I don't have the answer. I agree. There should be more background checks. I may be going against our entire company when I say I don't understand why folks have to walk around with AKs or ARs or automatic weapons. I get the whole, hey, look, you can make anything an automatic weapon. Just put this on. That's fine. I get all that. Don't, fine. And if you turn the channel off because you disagree with what I just said there, fine. But I'm in the middle, and I've always said I agree with both sides. Both sides aren't idiots. Just because you're a Democrat doesn't mean every idea coming from the Republican side is idiotic. And just because you're Republican doesn't mean that everything from the Democratic side is idiotic. I don't believe that. I do believe in stronger background checks. Is it going to stop what happened down in Texas? I don't think so. I do also believe that if you say, hey, look, we're going to ban guns, criminals will be the ones having guns. I believe that. Look, Chicago has gun laws, but do you know how easy it is to I'm being literal here, in some areas walk across the street in Northwest Indiana and just go get a gun legally from the state next to you? It's right there. So you say we should have federal gun laws. Well, how about this? If you think we should have federal gun laws, then present a law that doesn't have a bunch of crap in it. Present a law that can actually help people, not help a party.